Hey, another knife review, a macro up close on a big knife here, but I'm outside, gone mobile, and so here's the Microtech Socom Delta. When you're ordering these, be very specific, or be very careful when you're looking for the one you want. They have a lot of Socom Deltas, but you want to make sure you get the scale type that you want. Of course, make sure you get the blade edge, plain edge versus serrated you want, and steel type. There's a couple flavors of steel. This one's S35VN. You can get the scale in G10 or aluminum. This is the G10 version. I find that I like the G10 on the Microtechs a little bit better. It just adds a little bit more styling to this particular knife, in my opinion. So just be very specific on the model number. This one happens to be the 16310 version. So little tip there. So in my knife reviews now, I'm going to be going from a template, and I'll try to publish this on the web somewhere for you to look at, but I'm going to stick to very structured variables, criteria, and again, this is always my opinion. You may have a different view, but let's start off with just the specs, the details about the knife, and make sure I'm in frame again. Macro lens is so tall that I have to stand on a chair to see this thing. I'll flip it over and let you see the other side while I go over the specs. Again, Microtech, made in the USA. The blade's 3.75 inches. The overall length is 9 inches. S35VN steel. I don't have an issue with the steel. Works fine for me. I like S35 derivatives, S30 derivatives. Sharpens easy, it's strong. I'm not a steel snob anymore. I don't go out of my way to find rare steels. Titanium clip. Okay. 4.6 ounces overall. Again, made in the USA. G10 scales, and it doesn't label it like this, but I would almost consider it a smooth CC G10, like the Striders or the Buck Vantage knife. I think that's what it is. It's a smooth G10. It's manual opening. It's not assisted. It is the frame lock here. You can't overextend the frame lock. It does not have a hinderer stop ring like that, but it's done in a way where you can't push this further than you need to. Lanyard hole, not really a hole, but it's on the scale back here in a different way. I like the design. It's pretty neat. Not overly big, but it's long. You should be able to fit whatever you need to in there. Okay, so that's the specs basically. I want to move on to a little bit more of the subjective things. My opinion, your view may be different. Ergonomics. It's a big knife. I knew it was a big knife when I got it. And I apologize if I'm not fully in frame all the time. But as far as how it feels in your hand, the indentations in the scale, the grip, I like it. I'm very impressed. So I gave this kind of a high rating. I'm more impressed than what I thought I'd be. Sharpness out of the box, it was good. With the Tanto, it's always a little problematic. This point is ultra pointy, sharp, and it's a little stronger than I would say for many of the pointier knives because of the Tanto tip and the longer or wider grind lines here. But overall very sharp, not shaving sharp, but very good. Blade play up or down? None. Very high quality there. Noise or rattling? No, there's nothing. I've had that problem on a lot of the Kershaws, sometimes the Benchmades. Pocket clip orientation, just one spot right here. You can't move it anywhere else. So that doesn't bother me at all. It's a tip. up knife. Okay, overall weight, I mean, for the size of the knife, I think it's very good. It's 4.6 ounces, but it's a big knife, and they do good by you know, using just G10 scales. They have a hollowed out back. It does have this heavier component here, the back spacer, but it's not bad. The blade is heavy. The blade heaviness compared to the handle is pretty good, with it being angled slightly towards the blade in weight, in my opinion. Lock type, I like the frame locks, and this is again subjective opinion. It's nicely designed. It works well. It's not too hard to utilize. It's fine. I like it. It adds to the styling. The ease of maintenance. Okay, so there's a little bit of a ding here. Ease of maintenance. Well, you got the proprietary Microtech screws, which I knew that before I bought it, and I get it, but that kind of sucks. You have to have your own special tool or send it back to the company to do that. I don't typically take my knives apart at all, but if you ever needed to clean it out in a way, that would be helpful. It looks like the pivot is not, someone can correct me, but it doesn't look proprietary there. So the fact that you have to have a special tool is kind of a downside for the ease of maintenance. The other thing I would say, because it has a tanto grind, it's going to be slower and more problematic to sharpen the tanto. Ease of maintenance, probably a medium rating on that one. Opening comfort. Okay, a little bit of a ding on this one. I gave it about a medium on a scale of low, medium, and high. Medium is like it kind of met expectations, but it's a little bit rough still. It feels like it needs some break-in period. I've had this for about a week now. The thumb studs are comfortable. They're kind of low, wide, and flat with a little bit of grooves on there. It's just takes some pressure to do it. When you flick it like that, it's slightly uncomfortable, but I can tell that it's breaking in, so I expect that to go away. It's similar, but not as bad as some of the Striders. You know, they just require some break-in period. So there's that. Speed of opening. It's high. You can flick it with your thumb, just like that. You can see I'm horizontal there. Obviously, if you're pointing down, it's going to be a little faster. If you use your wrist, it's going to be even faster. Microtechs on these knives with the thicker blade, heavier blade, it's difficult to do, obviously, going straight up against gravity. So, windy day today. Sorry about this, folks. Got papers flying on the side. Opening with one hand. Very good. You saw me do it. You can do that just fine. Closing with one hand. Easily done. Detent on the knife. Okay, so this is the ding. Now, this is an extreme situation I'm going to tell you about. This is not an everyday occurrence, but the knife has a good detent overall, but let me explain that. Normal use, it has a good detent. It's not going to come open on you very easily. So you can see, I'm doing this where you can see the knife snap back in. Now, it's not wobbly, nothing here, but I know you're not going to be able to see this in frame, but if I'm holding it like this, look at that. Okay, see what I did there? So that's a little bit disturbing for extreme scenarios. If you really are in an extreme scenario, you're going to have it clipped in, you're going to have it in a sheath or something. I don't know, maybe you could have it in a bag and it could open like that. Many knives with heavier blades do that. So just something to look out for there. Snagging or likelihood of opening in jeans or shorts or your clothing. I actually do have this problem on other knives, specifically the Sabenza. I'll just be cruising along and something will snag and the blade will open in my pocket. I've not had any damage, but it gets snagged on, I don't know, cloth or some kind of something in my pocket that snags the thumb studs and pops it open, and I could reach in and it'll be like that. I don't think that would occur too much because it's a low flat thumb stud. It has not occurred yet on this knife. I think the likelihood of it occurring would be lower. Okay, pocket clip tightness. This is just, again, entirely your opinion, but my opinion is it's pretty tight. It's not as tight as the Kershaw's, a little less. It is more tight than the Sabenza, which I probably would consider my baseline or my favorite. This will chew up clothing. I'm certain it will over time, shorts, jeans, whatever. Some people may prefer that. Some people may need that. Alright, so likelihood of point damage. Since this is a very pointy knife, any point on any knife like this could get damaged easily. I think this is about a medium level. It has a thick back here because of the tanto. Some people are going to comment saying I'm saying it wrong, but medium probability that it will damage. So just have to be careful with it. Don't slam it into metal or anything, just to test whether it's going to damage or not. So that's it on the kind of the specs, the variables that I like to look at in my reviews. Comparable knives. Okay, so I have a few with me. Let me see if I'm still in frame. I'm gonna pull this out. Knives banging around. Pants falling off because they're full of knives. Alright, so you got a Spyderco Military. Okay, there goes my sheets. You got the 710. A few more. These are all big knives, approaching 4 inches on some of them, not quite on all of them. The Microtech is not 4 inches, but it looks real close. The Emerson CQC7, this is the HD7. Not as big, but similar combat aggressive style. Tanto point up as well. I'll even throw in the Rat 1 for size comparison there. I know I'm not all the way in frame here, just different lens. So even with the lower budget, you can get something that is similar in size and cuts just as well and is also fun to play with, just not as aggressive looking. And then one last size comparison, sticking with the more aggressive and military theme, but this one weighs, in my opinion, a lot more. The Benchmade Adamus. Okay. Alright, let's wrap it up with some of the financials, the value commentary. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean by that, does the price fit the value that I perceived I would get out of the knife? It's always my opinion, but I had a certain value, a certain expectation, and there was a price point I paid for it. And this is not a cheap knife. It's not the most expensive either. But did I feel it was worth the money? That's the net of it. And I'm going to say yes, I feel it was worth the money. It's not as expensive as a Sabenza or a Strider, but it has some of the high quality features that some of those knives have. I think the price point is okay for the value you get relative to comparable knives. Availability. It's not a custom knife. It's not a limited I wouldn't call it a limited production knife. I would say it's a lower production knife. I'm guessing, entirely guess, they probably planning to have a production run every 3 to 6 months. It seems to be popular. I don't know why they would stop doing it. Probably a good seller for them. As of April 2013, most of the online retailers didn't have the the plain edge in stock. They did have the serrated. Some of them had the aluminum handles, but not the G10 version. So there's a lot of varieties. On the secondary market, I think you could probably find these relatively easy. I don't think it's worth paying a premium for, meaning more than retail price on the secondary market, because I think that, again, they're likely going to have more production runs. There's nothing overly unique or completely special for these ones, so I don't think it's worth paying a premium for in the secondary market. Ease of resale. I'm going to put this about at a high rating because, again, I said lower production. It's a popular knife. There's a lot of versions available of it. I think if you buy a normal, plain edge version, I think you can be able to sell it relatively quickly if you decide it's just not for you, whatever. Of course, it needs to be in good shape. Don't damage it or anything like that. But overall, I think this is an easy one to sell secondary market if you have to. So just some comments on the financials, economics of the knife a little bit. Other points, I guess it was 2012 Blade Knife of the Year, which helps, which is one of the reasons why I looked at buying it. I mean, that kind of means something. A lot of people evaluate it being a good knife. I have not been historically a huge Microtech fan, but I am with this one, definitely. So overall, high quality knife. I think that you get the value you get out of it for the money. I think that you'll probably enjoy it. I think if you're sensitive to the aggressive design, the more military look, it used to be a term that people used a while ago. I haven't heard for a few years, as mall ninja. You could almost classify this knife as that term, but anyways, I'm not trying to knock it at all. I like the design. It's not one that I whip out to open a box of food or something out in public, but for around the house, for hiking, whatever, I think this is a good one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments. If you'd like me to talk about anything further about the knife, let me know, and I'll probably try to send out a web link that features all the criteria that I spoke about, summarized for you to read here. So thanks for watching.